On this day of giving thanks, I want to give thanks for some of the many blessings of my life and share a few words of wisdom from our old friend G.K. Chesterton. Stay tuned. Hello, friends. Pastor Tim Westermeyer here, Senior Pastor of St. Philip the Deacon in the western suburbs of Minneapolis. Good to be with you as always. We're taping this on Thanksgiving week. I think we're actually going to publish it on Thanksgiving Day. So my message this week is really a very simple one, but also a really important and I would say profound one, which is simply to say thank you. And in my own life, there are so many things I am grateful for, and I could probably spend a very long time listing them. But among them would be my wonderful family, and by that I mean both my parents, my wife's parents, all of my siblings, her siblings, the nieces and nephews that are part of that wonderful family on both sides. And of course, that means by definition, I guess, that I certainly give thanks for my wife, Amy. We've been married 31 years. It'll be 32 in the spring. And anyone who's been married more than a year or two knows that that brings both blessings and challenges. But boy, I can't imagine my life without her. So I'm grateful to her, grateful for my children, for all they're experiencing as they grow. Our youngest, we've talked about this, is started a new adventure this year at West Point. Our oldest is getting married in April, so we're sort of leaning into that. Our second son is thriving in his career after graduating from college, and our daughter Sarah, who we've talked about before, is doing well in her life. I'm so grateful for my friends. Someone, I didn't look this up before this episode, but someone somewhere once talked about you don't need a lot of friends, but a few good ones is really important. And I feel very blessed to call a few people very dear friends. And boy, friendships are important in this life. I'm grateful for Tim behind the camera and all he does with these episodes and the privilege we have of sitting in the same space every week, which brings me to my work. And I've talked about this before, and maybe we'll talk about it again. I'm a second career pastor, which means I spent the first decade or so of my professional life in another career. And in part because of that, I'm able to sort of compare and contrast what my life was like then, which was, by the way, a great life. I had no real huge complaints, but it wasn't what I ended up feeling like I was made to do. And so now being in a role that feels like I was created for it for the last 2 decades, boy, that's a real incredible reason for giving thanks, to be able to use your whatever small limited gifts and skills and abilities I may have in the service of a role, of a vocation that you feel is an important one. I'm just grateful for that every day. And I'm also grateful every day for the particular congregation I get to serve here at St. Philip the Deacon. I'm obviously biased, I guess, and so you don't have to take my word for this. But I happen to think St. Philip the Deacon is a pretty amazing and incredible place. It's a unusually healthy and vital and vibrant congregation in a culture that is sort of an acid to churches very often. And there are a lot of examples of unhealthy churches, and I'm just so grateful that I get to serve a church that is, in my opinion at least, healthy. And so as a result of that, I'm thankful for all of the pastoral colleagues I get to minister with. I'm grateful for the staff here. I'm grateful for the amazing members of St. Philip the Deacon who accomplished the mission and ministry of the church. We just welcomed 17 new families into the congregation earlier this week. And boy, it's a privilege to walk alongside all of you through the joys and sorrows of life, and to invite all of us to go out into the world and reflect God's love, which is maybe one of the most important things I can say on Thanksgiving, is that how sad is it to feel the need to say thankful, to say I'm grateful, or to say thanks, and not know who to thank. And so as Christians, one of the gifts we have is to be able to acknowledge we are thankful, and we know who to say thanks to, namely the good and gracious God who created us, who sustains us, and who ultimately will save us. I will conclude. You all know, I think, that I'm a big fan of G.K. Chesterton. He's someone I give thanks for all the books in my library and all the authors who are such incredible conversation partners with me. G.K. Chesterton would be very high on that list. He has a few things to say about thanks. I'm going to read just one of a short quote from him that I think is very appropriate on Thanksgiving Day. He says this: "When it comes to life, the critical thing is whether you take things for granted or take them with gratitude." And today, maybe can I just suggest that you pause to not take for granted all of the good blessings God has given you, and instead say a word of thanks, say a word of gratitude for each of them. Thanks for being with me today. As always, be well, stay in touch. God bless, and happy Thanksgiving.